Hello and welcome. My name is Ben Duke. I am a choreographer and a performer. Rather, I was a choreographer and a performer, and I've been asked to create this short film about the experience of theatre. Yeah, theatres often looked like this. This is a theatre. There were lots of seats that were red. Quite often they were red. Apparently, red is hard to see in the dark. So when the lights go down, you kind of lose track of what you're sitting on. So everyone came in from over there. They'd been waiting out in the foyer. In the foyer, they bought alcohol and snacks because they didn't know how long they were going to be inside for. So they might need the snacks at some point. Everyone comes in and they sit down in a seat. Not any seat. You can't. It's not a free for all. You sat in the seat that was on your ticket. You had to buy a ticket before you were allowed in, and you sat in the seat. And then other people came in and they sat in these seats, all around you. Strangers. Just strangers everywhere. Sometimes you came with someone, so this person was possibly someone you knew, but everyone else was a stranger, and they were eating snacks and coughing. Sometimes a lot of coughing. Sometimes the person here kind of relaxes their leg, and the leg kind of it rests against you, and they don't move it. That happened. I think it'd be a good idea if we tried something like an exercise here. So if you can just try this for me. So if there's someone else in your house, just press pause for a moment and just go and get that other person. And just invite them in to wherever you are, and just ask them to kind of sit close to you, like really like uncomfortably close. If there isn't anyone in your house, maybe get a pet or something, or if you don't have a pet, then a pot plant would do. You just need a kind of organism in your space. You know, if you don't have any kind of organism in your house and you live alone, then I would recommend getting something, anything. And just put them there, you know, and there, and imagine it's not just one, but there's lots of them. They're kind of multiple. They're all around you in your space, and you're kind of hemmed in by them, but also held by them, and they don't have to literally hold you. I mean, that's weird, but you know, like just imagine them around you, organisms of some kind, very close. And that's the feeling. Before anything happens, that's the feeling. And then the lights go down and they kind of vanish, but they're still there. Vanished and there. And we zoom in to the stage. And the stage is a magical place where all kinds of things can happen. For example, Hamlet, he was there a lot. He was on the stage a lot. Massive polar bear. One time it was just like a corridor of light, and there was a horse. And there was one with these Argentinians, lots of Argentinians came from the roof, and they took one of the audience members away. Like, whew. There was the one with that woman. She was in a rage, this terrible rage. Terrible, terrible rage. Someone comes on from over here, walking on, and they've got a trident. It's Poseidon. So imagine it's Poseidon walking on. He looks a bit like Aquaman, but he's kind of there. And he, do you know? Can you just? It's like he's there. You know, like I could lunge it. I could get to him if I really wanted to. It would be like Poseidon kind of appearing. You know, like the doorbell rings and Poseidon it would be like that. Poseidon right there in front of you. And if I took off my shoe and threw it at him, that would hit him. It would. It's like that. That was theatre. Like I could throw a shoe at Poseidon, and I didn't throw my shoe, and I mean I never saw that, but the possibility of it was what was important. The possibility of it. I don't know why we went. It was a hassle. It was a real hassle. I'm coming on the stage, and I don't have a very big part in this show. I know that it's a small part, but the director keeps telling me how important it is, particularly this moment. And I'm walking on with a shield. I'm carrying it very carefully, and I'm walking very slowly, and on the shield there's a baby. And we all know that the baby is dead, because off stage someone threw the baby from the top of the wall. And now I'm carrying the baby on stage to this group of women who are sheltering under the tent. And one of those women is the grandmother of the baby. And she sees me carrying the shield. And she feels sad, immensely sad. She's not really the grandmother. She's not the real grandmother, because she's just, pretending. She has children of her own, but they don't have children. So they could have children. I mean, they're old enough to do that. They're in their 30s, and maybe someday they will. She keeps telling her son to hurry up, but he's always talking about financial security, how he wants to have financial security before. And in her head, she's like, why? I mean, you could be hit by a bus tomorrow. What are you waiting for? She doesn't say that bit out loud, but she thinks it she wants to hold the child of her child. And she's thinking about that as I'm walking with the shield. And there's a woman about 4 rows back, and she's a real live grandmother. She saw her grandson yesterday. He's 4 months old, and she held him, and her daughter, the boy's mother, was incredibly tired, and she was walking in the garden trying to get him to sleep, and he was crying, and then eventually he stops crying and his body relaxed, and she felt it soften. And as she's watching the shield and me and the doll, she's imagining that softness, but instead of the baby being asleep, she's imagining it's the softness of death. And she goes very still. And that stillness travels that way. The man next to her is still and forward and backwards, and everyone is very still because we haven't seen that, but someone somewhere threw a baby off a wall, and I walk a bit too fast at this point, and the doll wobbles on the shield, and we know it's not a baby. We know, and we're okay now. We're all okay now. The big wall fell down, like right at the beginning. Boosh. And there's a woman in a dress. She comes walking over the rubble, and she gets to the front and she draws a cross on the floor in chalk, and she starts dancing. And you can see the sweat patches under her arms. She was real, very, very real, and she's really going through something. I didn't know exactly what, but I could feel her going through something, and that gave me a going through something feeling, and we're going through something together. She had like three dimensionality. We don't have that, like you and I. Here we don't have that so much. I mean, I kind of I lack depth, and you. I mean, I'm trying to imagine that you're there. That we're sharing. I'm trying to imagine that. I'm trying to really hold you in my mind's eye. But what I'm looking at is a camera. I'm looking down the lens of a camera. So if I try and imagine that that's your eye, then it doesn't really work. It doesn't work because it's like a big eye. It's like a cyclops. It's not you're not real. You're not real to me. And you could just go. I mean, maybe you've gone already. There's nothing to hold you here, is there? There's no people to kind of climb over. There's no embarrassment about leaving in the middle, or no sense of value. You're not there going, I spent 50 quid on this and I'm going to watch it, however weird and boring it is. There's nothing holding you there. So yeah, you're probably not there. I don't know if you're there.